final component to the characteristics of a successful catcher. We've discussed number 1 on the list, leadership qualities. Number 2 on the list is going to be mental toughness. Number 3 on the list is going to be the physical tools or the physical toughness we have to have. And then finally, we start getting into the physical skills or the responsibilities of a catcher. So, again, if we have catchers in front of us that all have some decent tools and they're pretty good at the skills or responsibilities that we have to do throughout a game. Number 1 after that is going to be leadership. Number 2 is mental toughness. Number 3 is physical toughness. And then finally, again, we get into the actual skills themselves. So the way I explain this when I get asked what is most important for a catcher, I always say, think of how many times we perform each skill throughout a game. Receiving is always going to be number 1 on the list. Depending on how the pitcher's throwing, we could receive anywhere from 75 pitches in a game to upwards of 200 plus pitches in a game. Again, it all depends on how the pitcher is doing and how well the other team is hitting. So receiving happens the most often throughout a game, so we need to be more proficient and consistent with that skill. Next on the list, depending again on how the pitcher's throwing, we may have the pitcher bounce as few as 5 pitches throughout a game or as many as 30 to 40 pitches throughout the game. So the next on the list as far as the physical skills or responsibilities is going to be blocking. And then finally, depending on the speed of the other team, depending on the arm strength of the catcher and how they control the running game, the other team might not try and steal it all the entire game, not do a steal attempt at all. I've had that happen. Or they might try as many as 8, 9, 10 stolen bases throughout the game. So throwing is going to actually be 3rd on the list. And then finally, every once in a while, we have a tag play at the plate. Every once in a while, we have a bunt play. Every once in a while, there's a pop-up hit. Every once in a while, the bases are loaded, there's a ground ball, and we have a force play. So I call them the special plays are actually going to be 4th on the list. So when we get to the actual responsibilities of a catcher, which is 4th on the list of importance, we want to have receiving ability, number 1, blocking ability, number 2, throwing ability, number 3, and then finally everything else that happens throughout a game, or the special plays I call them, that's going to be number 4 on the list. Let me stress again, yes, we want them to be consistent in those physical skills. If we have someone that can't catch the ball, doesn't matter how good of a leader they are, we're not going to have much success. So yes, they have to receive, they have to block, they have to throw. But again, if you have catchers that can do that, the next thing that the coaches go for immediately is leadership qualities, mental toughness, and physical toughness, and then we get into the skills itself. So those are the responsibilities, those are the characteristics of a successful catcher. That's what we're looking for when we're trying to select who's going to catch for our team.